Welcome, and thank you for being here. Wherever you are listening from, perhaps late at night, with lights dimmed and thoughts slowing, imagine yourself stepping into a vast, open landscape. The air is still. The horizon feels endless. The ground beneath your feet is shaped by time, wind, and patience. Tonight, we're gently exploring deserts. These quiet landscapes often feel empty at first glance, yet they are some of the most complex and fascinating regions on Earth. Deserts hold stories of climate, survival, ancient travel routes, hidden water, and delicate ecosystems that thrive in conditions most life could not endure. As you listen, there is nothing you need to remember. No pressure to stay awake. Simply let the facts drift past you like grains of sand carried softly by the wind. If you enjoy calm, curiosity-driven learning like this, you're welcome to like and subscribe. And if you feel comfortable, leave a comment sharing your country, your city, and the time you're listening. Many people find comfort knowing others around the world are listening at the same quiet hour. Now, let's begin slowly. When most people hear the word desert, they imagine endless heat and rolling sand dunes. But in geography and climate science, a desert is defined not by temperature, but by rainfall. Deserts are regions that receive very little precipitation, usually less than 250 millimeters, or about 10 inches of rain per year. Because of this definition, deserts can be hot or cold. Some are sun-scorched during the day. Others are frozen for much of the year. What they share is dryness and a remarkable balance between land, air, and life. The largest desert on Earth is not the Sahara, as many people assume, but Antarctica. It receives less precipitation than most hot deserts, with snowfall so sparse that some regions haven't seen measurable accumulation in thousands of years. Antarctica is classified as a cold desert, shaped by ice instead of sand, yet governed by the same principles of aridity. The Sahara, however, is the largest hot desert in the world. Stretching across North Africa, it covers an area comparable to the size of the United States. Its scale has shaped trade routes, cultures, and economies for millennia, influencing everything from architecture to clothing to cuisine. Deserts form in several different ways. Many are located near 30 degrees north or south of the equator, where global air circulation patterns cause dry air to descend. This descending air suppresses cloud formation, making rainfall rare. These regions include parts of the Sahara, the Arabian Desert, and Australia's interior. Other deserts form in rain shadows. When moist air rises over mountain ranges, it cools and releases precipitation on one side. By the time the air descends on the other side, it is dry. The Atacama Desert in Chile, one of the driest places on Earth, exists partly because of the Andes Mountains blocking moisture from the Amazon basin. Some deserts sit far from oceans, making it difficult for moisture to reach them at all. Others are influenced by cold ocean currents that stabilize the air and prevent rain clouds from forming. Each desert tells a slightly different climate story. Despite their dryness, deserts are far from lifeless. Plants and animals in arid regions have evolved extraordinary adaptations. Many desert plants have deep root systems that reach hidden groundwater, while others spread shallow roots to capture brief rainfall. Some plants store water in thick stems or leaves, creating living reservoirs that sustain them through long, dry periods. Cacti, for example, are not native to all deserts, but they are iconic in the Americas. Their spines reduce water loss, provide shade, and deter animals. Their ribbed bodies expand and contract depending on available moisture, allowing them to survive years between significant rains. Desert animals are often nocturnal, emerging at night when temperatures drop. This behavioral adaptation helps conserve water and energy. Kangaroo rats, found in North American deserts, rarely drink liquid water at all. Instead, they extract moisture from the seeds they eat, producing highly concentrated urine to minimize water loss. Reptiles, such as lizards and snakes, thrive in deserts by regulating their body temperature through behavior rather than metabolism. They bask in the sun when warmth is needed and retreat to shade or burrows when temperatures rise too high. Even insects play critical roles in desert ecosystems, pollinating plants, breaking down organic material, and serving as food for larger animals. Life here is subtle, efficient, and finely tuned. Deserts also shape human history in profound ways. Ancient civilizations learned to navigate arid landscapes using stars, landmarks, and seasonal knowledge. Trade routes cross deserts, carrying salt, gold, spices, textiles, and ideas. The Silk Road passed through arid regions of Central Asia, connecting economies and cultures from East Asia to Europe. Nomadic cultures developed lifestyles perfectly suited to desert environments. Their traditions, technologies, and social structures reflect deep ecological understanding. Tents designed for airflow, clothing that reflects sunlight, and diets adapted to scarce resources all demonstrate human ingenuity. Today, deserts continue to influence modern economies. Many are rich in mineral resources, solar energy potential, and unique tourism experiences. Luxury desert resorts, eco-lodges, and cultural tourism draw travelers seeking quiet, open space, and a sense of timelessness. Desert tourism, when managed responsibly, supports local economies and promotes conservation. Stargazing is especially popular in deserts due to low humidity and minimal light pollution. The night sky often feels closer here, the stars sharper, the Milky Way more vivid. Speaking of night, desert temperatures often drop dramatically after sunset. Without clouds to trap heat, warmth escapes quickly into the atmosphere. This phenomenon creates some of the largest daily temperature swings on Earth, a reminder of how delicate the balance of energy can be. Sand dunes, one of the most recognizable desert features, are shaped entirely by wind. Each dune is a moving record of airflow, grain size, and terrain. Some dunes migrate slowly across landscapes, advancing meters per year. Others remain relatively stable for centuries. Not all deserts are sandy. In fact, sand covers only about 20% of the world's deserts. Many are rocky, gravelly, or mountainous. These surfaces absorb and release heat differently, creating varied microclimates within the same desert. Under the surface, deserts often hide surprising amounts of water. Aquifers store ancient rainfall that fell thousands of years ago during wetter climate periods. Oases form where groundwater reaches the surface, supporting vegetation, wildlife, and human settlements. As we continue, imagine yourself moving slowly across the desert, not traveling quickly, but drifting, as if carried by a warm breeze. The landscape changes almost imperceptibly. What looks still is, in fact, always in motion, shaped by forces that work patiently over thousands and even millions of years. Realist, Beal. We are, you are, Deserts are not accidents of nature. They are the result of global systems working quietly and consistently. One of the most important forces behind desert formation is Earth's atmospheric circulation. Near the equator, warm air rises, cools, and releases moisture as rain. This is why tropical regions are often lush and green. After releasing its moisture, the air moves away from the equator, traveling north and south, high in the atmosphere. As it cools further, it eventually sinks back toward the surface around 30 degrees latitude. When this air descends, it warms again, becoming capable of holding moisture rather than releasing it. Clouds struggle to form. Rain becomes rare. Over long periods, these descending air zones create some of the world's most famous deserts, including the Sahara, the Arabian Desert, and large portions of Australia. This pattern is part of what scientists call the Hadley cell, a global circulation system that quietly organizes Earth's climate. It is invisible, yet its influence can be felt in the dryness of desert air and the clarity of desert skies. Another powerful desert-forming process involves mountains. When moist air encounters a mountain range, it is forced upward. As the air rises, it cools, and moisture falls as rain or snow on the windward side. By the time the air crosses the peaks and descends on the other side, it has lost much of its moisture. This creates a rain shadow, an area of extreme dryness. The Atacama Desert in Chile is one of the most striking examples of this phenomenon. Bordered by the Andes Mountains to the east and the coastal range to the west, the Atacama receives so little rainfall that some weather stations have recorded decades without measurable rain. In certain places, soils are so dry they resemble conditions found on Mars, making the region valuable for planetary science and space research. Cold ocean currents also play a subtle but important role in desert creation. Along some western continental coastlines, cold water flows north or south from polar regions. These currents cool the air above them, reducing its ability to rise and form rain clouds. The result is a stable, dry atmosphere. The Namib Desert along the southwest coast of Africa is shaped in part by the cold Benguela Current. Despite its proximity to the ocean, the Namib remains incredibly dry, yet it experiences frequent fog. This fog provides a crucial source of moisture for plants and animals, demonstrating how life adapts creatively even in extreme environments. Time is the final ingredient in desert formation. Deserts are not static. Over Earth's history, regions have shifted between wet and dry phases as climates changed. The Sahara, now synonymous with aridity, was once home to lakes, rivers, and grasslands. Rock art found in the region depicts animals like giraffes and crocodiles, evidence of a much wetter past. These changes occurred due to subtle variations in Earth's orbit and tilt, which altered monsoon patterns over thousands of years. Today, scientists study ancient lakebeds, fossil pollen, and sediment layers to reconstruct these past environments. This research helps us understand how current climate systems may evolve in the future. Wind is perhaps the most visible sculptor of desert landscapes. Without frequent rain or dense vegetation to hold soil in place, wind becomes free to move particles across vast distances. Fine dust can travel thousands of kilometers, crossing oceans and continents. Saharan dust regularly reaches Europe and even the Americas, fertilizing soils and influencing weather patterns far from its source. Sand grains move differently. Rather than floating, they bounce and roll along the ground in a process called saltation. Over time, this motion carves rocks into smooth, sculpted forms and builds dunes of astonishing variety. Some dunes form long ridges aligned with prevailing winds. Others create star-shaped patterns where winds shift direction throughout the year. The tallest dunes on Earth, found in parts of Namibia and China, can rise more than 300 meters, towering quietly over the desert floor. Though deserts are dry, water still plays a critical role in shaping them. When rain does fall, it often arrives suddenly and intensely. Dry soil struggles to absorb water quickly, leading to flash floods that carve channels called wadis or arroyos. These temporary rivers may flow for hours or days, reshaping landscapes before vanishing again. Over time, these episodic floods transport sediment, creating alluvial fans and fertile valley floors. Many ancient settlements developed near these features, relying on seasonal water flows for agriculture and trade. In some deserts, underground water moves slowly through porous rock layers, emerging far from its original source. These hidden systems, known as aquifers, can store water for tens of thousands of years. When accessed responsibly, they support cities, farms, and industries in otherwise inhospitable regions. However, aquifers recharge very slowly in arid climates. Modern water management is therefore crucial, balancing economic development with long-term sustainability. Deserts, though seemingly empty, are deeply connected to global discussions about resource management, technology, and climate adaptation. Desert soils themselves are unique because organic material decomposes slowly in dry conditions. Desert soils often lack rich nutrients. Yet, they can be surprisingly complex, containing mineral crusts formed by evaporation. These crusts can stabilize the surface, reducing erosion, and provide habitats for microscopic life. Biological soil crusts, composed of bacteria, algae, lichens, and mosses, are especially important. They darken the soil surface, retain moisture, and fix nitrogen, supporting plant growth. Though fragile, these crusts are essential to desert ecosystems and can take decades to recover if damaged. As night falls in a desert, the environment transforms once again. Temperatures drop, winds soften, animals emerge. The sky free from clouds and city lights, reveal stars in extraordinary detail. For centuries, deserts have served as natural observatories, inspiring astronomy, navigation, and philosophy. Ancient travelers used the stars to cross deserts, memorizing patterns that guided them across featureless terrain. Today, modern observatories still seek desert locations for their clarity and stability, supporting research that expands our understanding of the universe. Deserts, then, are places of quiet complexity. They are shaped by air currents that span the globe, by mountains and oceans, by wind and water, and by time itself. As you rest and listen, let these processes unfold gently in your imagination. There is no rush, only slow movement, patient change, and the calm rhythm of Earth at work. Now, let your awareness settle into the feeling of desert air itself. Notice how it carries both warmth and stillness, and how, despite first impressions, deserts are not defined only by heat. They are defined by extremes, moving gently between them in a steady, predictable rhythm. Deserts are classified primarily by how little precipitation they receive. Most deserts get less than 250 millimeters of rain per year. Some receive far less. But within this shared dryness, desert climates vary widely, creating a surprising diversity of environments across the planet. Hot deserts are the type most people imagine first. These include regions like the Sahara, the Arabian Desert, and parts of the Australian outback. In these places, daytime temperatures can climb above 45 degrees Celsius during the hottest months. The sun shines intensely, unfiltered by clouds, delivering a steady stream of solar energy to the surface. Yet, even in these hot deserts, heat is not constant. After sunset, temperatures often fall quickly. Without moisture in the air to trap warmth, heat escapes into the night sky. It is not uncommon for desert temperatures to drop by more than 20 degrees Celsius in a single evening. This daily temperature swing shapes everything from rock formations to animal behavior. Cold deserts, on the other hand, are defined by low temperatures combined with low precipitation. The Gobi Desert in Central Asia and the Patagonian Desert in South America are well-known examples. These regions experience long, cold winters and relatively mild summers. Snow, rather than rain, often provides what little moisture falls. Polar deserts, such as those found in Antarctica and parts of the Arctic, receive even less precipitation than many hot deserts. Antarctica is technically the largest desert on Earth, despite being covered in ice. Its dryness results from extremely cold air that holds very little moisture. The defining factor across all desert climates is evaporation. In deserts, evaporation rates typically exceed precipitation. Any water that reaches the surface tends to evaporate quickly, seep into the ground, or flow away briefly before disappearing. This imbalance keeps soils dry and vegetation sparse. Humidity plays a key role here. Desert air is usually very dry, allowing sweat to evaporate rapidly from the skin. This can make heat feel more tolerable, but it also increases the risk of dehydration. Historically, understanding desert humidity was essential for travelers, traders, and nomadic cultures navigating these environments. Seasonal patterns add another layer of complexity. Some deserts experience monsoon influences. The Sonoran Desert of North America, for example, has a summer monsoon season that brings brief but intense thunderstorms. These rains trigger bursts of plant growth, blooming flowers, and increased animal activity. The desert, dormant for much of the year, suddenly feels alive. Other deserts experience winter rainfall. The Mojave Desert receives most of its precipitation between November and March. This pattern supports different plant communities and influences how species time their life cycles. Wind is a constant companion in desert climates. Strong daytime heating creates pressure differences that drive winds across open terrain. These winds transport heat, dust, and sand, shaping both climate and landscape. Dust storms can reduce visibility dramatically, sometimes traveling across continents and oceans. These airborne particles also affect climate elsewhere. Dust reflects sunlight, influences cloud formation, and delivers nutrients to distant ecosystems. In this way, deserts quietly participate in global climate systems and ecological cycles. Cloud cover, or the lack of it, is another defining feature. Deserts often have clear skies for much of the year. This allows strong solar heating during the day and rapid cooling at night. It also makes deserts ideal locations for solar energy production. Vast, sunlit expanses provide reliable conditions for renewable energy infrastructure, linking desert environments to modern technology and sustainable development. At the same time, clear skies make deserts popular destinations for astronomy tourism. Stargazers travel from around the world to experience pristine night skies, supporting local economies and educational outreach. Despite the dryness, water vapor still moves through desert air. Morning dew can form when nighttime temperatures drop low enough. For some desert plants and insects, dew is an important water source. In coastal deserts, fog plays a similar role. The Namib Desert's fog belt sustains entire ecosystems adapted to capture moisture from the air. Temperature extremes also shape desert rock. During the day, rocks expand as they heat. At night, they contract as they cool. Over long periods, this repeated expansion and contraction causes rocks to fracture in a process known as thermal weathering, combined with wind erosion. This process creates the smooth stones and sharp-edged fragments typical of desert landscapes. Climate change is now influencing desert climates in measurable ways. Some deserts are expanding as rainfall patterns shift and temperatures rise. Other regions experience increased variability, with longer droughts interrupted by more intense rainfall events. These changes affect water availability, agriculture, and biodiversity, making deserts important indicators of broader environmental trends. Scientists monitor deserts closely using satellites, weather stations, and field research. These efforts help improve climate models, guide resource management, and inform policy decisions worldwide. Human cultures have long adapted to desert climates with ingenuity. Traditional architecture often uses thick walls, small windows, and courtyards to regulate temperature naturally. Clothing styles emphasize loose, light-colored fabrics that reflect sunlight and promote airflow. Travel routes follow seasonal patterns, water sources, and prevailing winds. Modern cities in desert regions continue to evolve, blending ancient knowledge with new technologies. Innovations in water recycling, desalination, and energy efficiency make desert living increasingly sustainable. As you rest, imagine the slow cycle of a desert day. The sun rises, warming the land gently. Shadows shorten. Heat builds steadily. By afternoon, the air shimmers. Then, slowly, the sun sinks. The ground releases its warmth. The night cools. Stars appear. This rhythm repeats day after day, year after year. Reliable, calming, and ancient. Desert climates may seem harsh at first glance, but they are finely balanced systems shaped by physics, geography, and time. Within their extremes lies a quiet order, one that invites patience and reflection. Let that sense of balance settle in your thoughts as you continue listening. As we continue, allow your thoughts to drift gently toward the living things that call deserts home. At first, deserts may appear empty, but when you look more closely, life is everywhere, moving slowly, quietly, and with remarkable efficiency. Desert plants are masters of survival. They live in environments where water is scarce, temperatures are extreme, and soils often hold few nutrients. Yet, over millions of years, plants have evolved strategies that allow them not just to survive, but to thrive. One of the most important adaptations is water storage. Succulents, such as cacti and aloe plants, store water inside thick stems or leaves. The iconic cactus shape is not accidental. Its rounded form reduces surface area, limiting water loss, while deep green skin performs photosynthesis efficiently. Many desert plants reduce water loss by minimizing their leaves. Instead of broadleaves, they may have tiny leaflets, waxy coatings, or spines. Spines serve multiple purposes. They deter herbivores, provide shade to the plant's surface, and help reduce airflow, slowing evaporation. In some species, spines even collect dew, guiding moisture toward the plant's base. Roots are just as important as stems and leaves. Some desert plants develop deep taproots that reach underground water tables. Others spread shallow roots widely, allowing them to absorb water quickly when rain falls. This diversity of root systems reduces competition and allows many species to coexist in the same area. Timing is another powerful survival tool. Annual desert plants complete their entire life cycle in a matter of weeks. After rainfall, seeds germinate rapidly. Plants grow quickly. Flowers bloom, and seeds are produced before moisture disappears. These seeds may remain dormant in the soil for years, waiting patiently for the next favorable conditions. This strategy creates spectacular desert blooms. In places like California's deserts or Chile's Atacama region, rare rain events can trigger carpets of wildflowers stretching across the landscape. These blooms attract tourists from around the world, supporting local economies and reminding observers that deserts are dynamic, not lifeless. Photosynthesis itself is adapted in many desert plants. Some use a process called CAM photosynthesis, which allows them to open their stomata at night rather than during the day. By absorbing carbon dioxide at night, when temperatures are cooler and humidity is higher, plants reduce water loss. During the day, they use stored carbon dioxide to produce energy while keeping stomata closed. Soils in deserts also shape plant life. Desert soils often contain minerals like calcium carbonate or salt, left behind as water evaporates. Some plants tolerate high salinity, while others avoid it by growing in slightly elevated areas where salts accumulate less. Biological soil crusts play a subtle but vital role. These crusts are made of cyanobacteria, lichens, and mosses that bind soil particles together. They help prevent erosion, retain moisture, and contribute nutrients to the soil. Though fragile, they are essential to desert ecosystem health. Human interaction with desert plants has a long history. Indigenous cultures developed deep knowledge of local flora, using plants for food, medicine, shelter, and tools. Dates, agave, mesquite, and many other desert plants supported trade networks and sustainable living long before modern agriculture. Xeriscaping uses drought-tolerant plants to reduce water consumption in cities. This approach supports sustainable tourism, reduces infrastructure costs, and reflects growing awareness of water scarcity in a changing climate. Some desert plants have become global economic resources. Aloe vera is cultivated worldwide for skincare and health products. Agave supports food industries, biofuel research, and cultural traditions. Even desert grasses contribute to erosion control and habitat restoration. Desert plants also play a role in climate regulation. Vegetation influences surface temperatures, carbon storage, and soil stability. Protecting desert plant communities helps slow desertification and supports biodiversity. At night, desert plants rest quietly. Without the intense sun, metabolic processes slow. Moisture lingers slightly longer in the air. The desert breathes out its stored heat and settles into calm. Imagine standing among these plants under a vast sky. Each cactus, shrub, or flower represents generations of adaptation shaped by patience and precision. Nothing grows quickly here without purpose. Nothing survives without balance. This quiet persistence mirrors the desert itself, steady, resilient, unhurried. Let that feeling of endurance and calm accompany you as we move forward, gently exploring the animals that share these landscapes next. As the warmth of the day slowly fades, deserts come alive in subtle ways. This is the hour when life begins to move, quietly and carefully, beneath the cooling sky. Desert animals have evolved extraordinary strategies to survive in places where water is rare and temperatures can be extreme. Many desert animals are nocturnal. By resting during the hottest hours and becoming active at night, they conserve water and energy. Darkness offers cooler air, softer sands, and protection from predators. Under moonlight, small mammals, reptiles, and insects begin their gentle routines. Rodents are among the most successful desert animals. Kangaroo rats, jerboas, and gerbils rarely need to drink liquid water. Instead, they obtain moisture from seeds and plants. Their kidneys are highly efficient, producing concentrated urine that conserves precious water. Some species even recycle moisture from their own breath through specialized nasal passages. By digging underground, animals escape surface extremes. Temperatures just a short distance below the sand remain relatively stable. Burrows also offer protection from predators and serve as safe places to raise young. Reptiles thrive in desert environments. Lizards, snakes, and tortoises are well adapted to arid conditions. Their scaly skin reduces water loss, and many regulate body temperature by basking briefly in sunlight or retreating to shade. Sidewinder snakes move across hot sand using a unique sideways motion that minimizes contact with the ground. Insects are essential to desert ecosystems. Ants, beetles, and termites recycle nutrients, aerate soil, and support plant growth. Some beetles collect moisture from fog or dew using textured shells that guide water toward their mouths. These small innovations inspire modern technology, influencing water harvesting designs in arid regions. Birds are surprisingly common in deserts. Species like roadrunners, owls, and falcons adapt by hunting during cooler hours and nesting in shaded areas. Some birds migrate seasonally, following food availability across vast distances. Desert oases often become vital stopovers, supporting biodiversity and ecotourism. Large mammals are less common but still present. Camels are perhaps the most famous desert animals. Their humps store fat, not water, providing energy that can be converted into moisture. Wide feet prevent sinking into sand, and long eyelashes protect eyes from dust. Camels have supported trade, travel, and cultural exchange across deserts for thousands of years. Foxes and cats also inhabit deserts. Fennec foxes use oversized ears to dissipate heat and detect prey underground. Desert cats hunt quietly, relying on stealth rather than speed. Their fur often matches the landscape, providing natural camouflage. Desert animals communicate subtly. Sounds are soft, movements are careful. Many rely on scent markings or vibrations rather than loud calls. This quiet communication reduces energy use and avoids attracting predators. Water sources shape animal behavior. When rain falls, animals emerge quickly to drink and feed. Temporary pools become hubs of activity. Some species time reproduction to follow rainfall, ensuring young have access to food and moisture. Human cultures have long observed desert wildlife. Indigenous knowledge includes understanding animal tracks, behaviors, and seasonal movements. This wisdom guided hunting practices and land stewardship, emphasizing balance rather than exploitation. Today, desert wildlife supports tourism and conservation efforts. Safaris, wildlife reserves, and educational programs generate economic opportunities while promoting preservation. Responsible tourism helps protect fragile habitats and supports local communities. Climate change presents new challenges. Rising temperatures and shifting rainfall patterns affect animal survival. Some species adapt by changing activity times or migration routes, while others face increased risk. Conservation science works to understand these changes and protect biodiversity. At night, deserts are filled with quiet life. You may hear the soft rustle of movement, the flutter of wings, or the distant call of an owl. Above, stars shine brightly, unobscured by humidity or artificial light. In this stillness, desert animals continue their ancient rhythms. Each step, each breath is measured and efficient. Life here is not hurried. It is precise, patient, and deeply connected to the land. As you imagine these gentle movements under the night sky, allow your thoughts to slow as well. The desert teaches us that survival does not always require speed or noise. Sometimes calm awareness is enough. Deserts may appear still at first glance, but they are landscapes in constant, quiet motion. One of the most graceful expressions of this movement is the sand dune. Shaped by wind, gravity, and time, dunes slowly travel across desert plains, changing form with remarkable patience. Sand dunes are created by wind. When wind blows across dry ground, it lifts tiny grains of sand and carries them forward. As the wind slows, those grains settle, collecting around small obstacles like rocks or plants. Over time, these small accumulations grow into dunes, sculpted layer by layer. There are several main types of dunes. Barchan dunes are crescent-shaped, with horns pointing downwind. They are common in areas with limited sand and consistent wind direction. Transverse dunes form long ridges, perpendicular to prevailing winds, while longitudinal dunes stretch parallel to wind flow, often for many kilometers. Star dunes, found in places like the Sahara, rise tall with multiple arms shaped by winds from different directions. Dunes are not fixed in place. They migrate slowly, sometimes only a few meters per year. Individual grains move by hopping, rolling, or briefly floating through the air in a process called saltation. Though the motion is slow, it is continuous, reshaping the desert quietly over decades and centuries. The sound of dunes can be surprising. In certain deserts, dunes produce low, humming, or booming sounds when sand slides down their slopes. This phenomenon, sometimes called singing sand, occurs when grains vibrate together at specific sizes and dryness levels. Travelers have described the sound as deep and musical, echoing across open plains. Wind patterns influence desert geography. Strong seasonal winds can clear areas of sand, exposing rock beneath. In other places, wind deposits layers that bury old landscapes. Satellite imagery reveals these patterns clearly, helping scientists understand climate, history, and desert evolution. Dunes affect temperature and moisture. Their shapes create shaded slopes that remain cooler, allowing small plants and animals to survive. Moisture can collect beneath dunes, forming hidden reservoirs that support roots and underground life. Vegetation helps stabilize dunes. Grasses and shrubs trap sand with their roots, slowing movement. In some regions, planting native vegetation helps prevent desertification near cities, roads, and agricultural land. This blend of ecology and technology supports sustainable development. Human interaction with dunes has a long history. Ancient trade routes crossed dune fields, guided by stars and landmarks. Caravans learned to read wind patterns and dune shapes to avoid becoming lost. Today, desert tourism offers dune excursions that blend adventure with education, contributing to local economies. Modern engineering studies dune dynamics. Understanding sand movement helps protect infrastructure like pipelines, highways, and solar farms. Lessons learned from deserts influence architecture, urban planning, and climate adaptation strategies worldwide. Deserts also preserve ancient records. Fossil dunes, now hardened into sandstone, reveal past climates and wind directions. These formations show that deserts expand and contract over geological time, responding to shifts in Earth's orbit, oceans, and atmosphere. At sunset, dunes glow softly. Their curves catch light at low angles, creating gentle shadows and warm colors. This daily transformation draws photographers, artists, and travelers seeking calm beauty and quiet inspiration. At night, dunes cool quickly. Sand releases heat faster than rock, allowing temperatures to drop sharply. This cooling creates comfortable conditions for nocturnal life and offers clear skies for stargazing and astronomy tourism. The motion of dunes is slow enough to feel timeless. They remind us that change does not always arrive suddenly. Sometimes it comes grain by grain, guided by invisible forces, shaping the world without urgency. As you imagine wind brushing over endless dunes, picture each grain settling into place. Let your thoughts drift gently, like sand carried softly through the air. Even in the most arid deserts, life finds a way to continue calmly and patiently. Desert ecosystems may appear empty at first glance, but beneath the surface and within the shadows, a remarkable variety of plants and animals have adapted to survive with very little water and intense temperature changes. Desert plants are masters of conservation. Many desert plants store water in thick stems or leaves. Cacti, for example, hold moisture inside their fleshy bodies and reduce water loss with waxy skins. Their spines are modified leaves, minimizing evaporation while also offering protection from animals and harsh sunlight. Roots often grow wider rather than deeper. Instead of reaching far underground, many desert plants spread shallow roots across large areas. This allows them to quickly absorb rainfall when brief desert storms pass through. Some plants can drink enough water in minutes to survive for months. Desert flowers bloom quickly. After rare rains, seeds that have waited dormant for years can sprout and bloom within days. These short-lived flowers complete their life cycles rapidly, producing seeds before the moisture disappears again. This quiet urgency is one of the desert's most delicate rhythms. Animals avoid heat through timing. Many desert animals are nocturnal, resting during the day and becoming active at night when temperatures drop. Foxes, rodents, snakes, and insects emerge under starlight, conserving energy and water. Burrowing offers protection. By living underground, animals escape extreme surface temperatures. Burrows remain cooler during the day and warmer at night. Some desert rodents seal burrow entrances to retain moisture, creating stable microclimates below the sand. Water comes from unexpected sources. Some animals never drink liquid water at all. Kangaroo rats, for example, obtain moisture from seeds through metabolic processes. Others collect dew or absorb water through skin surfaces during cool mornings. Reptiles thrive in arid climates. Snakes and lizards regulate body temperature by basking briefly in the sun and then retreating into shade. Their scales reduce water loss, and their slow metabolisms require less energy and moisture than mammals. Birds migrate through deserts strategically. Many birds pass over deserts during seasonal migrations, stopping briefly near oases or riverbeds. Others, like sandgrouse, have specialized feathers that carry water back to their chicks. Insects dominate desert biodiversity. Ants, beetles, and spiders make up a large portion of desert life. Some beetles collect fog on their bodies, guiding droplets toward their mouths. These small innovations support entire food webs. Desert ecosystems are fragile. Because growth is slow, disturbances can last decades. Tire tracks, overgrazing, or construction may take generations to fade. Conservation efforts focus on protecting these landscapes while supporting sustainable tourism and education. Deserts support human cultures, too. Indigenous communities have lived in deserts for thousands of years, developing deep knowledge of seasonal patterns, medicinal plants, and water sources. Their traditions reflect balance, patience, and respect for limited resources. Modern science studies desert adaptations. Researchers explore desert biology to improve agriculture, water management, and climate resilience. Lessons learned from arid regions influence technology, architecture, and sustainable design worldwide. Desert nights bring stillness. As temperatures fall, sounds soften. Insects chirp quietly, winds slow, and the land rests. The sky above deserts is often clear, making them ideal for astronomy and peaceful observation. Life in the desert teaches restraint. Every movement, every growth decision is measured and efficient. Nothing is wasted. This quiet discipline offers a gentle reminder that survival does not always require abundance. Sometimes it requires balance. As you picture small creatures moving softly under moonlight, allow your own thoughts to slow. The desert continues its calm existence, patient and enduring. Deserts may seem still from a distance, but many of them are slowly, quietly in motion. Wind shapes the land grain by grain, forming dunes that drift almost imperceptibly over time. This movement happens without urgency, guided by simple forces acting patiently across years and centuries. Sand begins as rock. Most desert sand starts as solid stone. Over long periods, temperature changes cause rocks to expand during the day and contract at night. This gentle stress creates cracks. Wind and occasional rain slowly break the fragments down further until they become fine grains of sand. Wind is the desert's sculptor. When wind blows across open ground, it lifts lighter particles and pushes heavier ones along the surface. Over time, this sorting process creates smooth plains and sculpted ridges. The direction, speed, and consistency of wind determine the shapes that emerge. Not all dunes look the same. Some dunes form crescent shapes, known as Barchan dunes, with their curved tips pointing downwind. Others stretch into long parallel ridges, while star-shaped dunes grow tall, where winds blow from multiple directions. Each shape reflects a unique balance of wind patterns and sand supply. Dunes can be surprisingly tall. Some desert dunes rise higher than skyscrapers, reaching several hundred meters in height. Despite their size, they are delicate structures held together only by gravity, friction, and occasional moisture. Sand moves slowly. Although individual grains may travel quickly during strong winds, entire dunes usually shift only a few meters per year. This slow migration gives deserts their dreamlike quality, as landscapes subtly change without dramatic moments. Sound travels differently in sand. Certain dunes are known as singing dunes. When sand slides down their slopes, it can produce a deep humming or booming sound. Scientists believe this happens when grains vibrate together in synchronized motion. Moisture stabilizes dunes. Even small amounts of moisture from dew or rare rainfall can cause sand grains to stick together. This temporarily slows movement and allows plants to take root, anchoring dunes with their roots. Vegetation shapes deserts. Where grasses or shrubs grow, dunes may stop migrating altogether. These plants trap sand, creating fixed dunes that support more life over time. This quiet partnership between plant and land can last for centuries. Deserts contain stone waves, too. In rocky deserts, wind carves patterns into exposed rock surfaces, forming ripples that resemble frozen waves. These features show that movement continues even where sand is scarce. Human interaction alters dune systems. Roads, fences, and buildings can disrupt wind flow, causing dunes to accumulate in new places. Managing desert infrastructure requires understanding how sand naturally travels. Deserts record climate history. Layers of sand reveal changes in wind direction and climate over thousands of years. Dunes influence desert travel. Historically, caravans planned routes carefully to avoid unstable dunes. Today, satellite mapping helps travelers and researchers navigate safely through these shifting terrains. The colors of sand vary. Sand can appear white, red, orange, black, or even pink, depending on mineral content. Iron creates warm reds, quartz produces pale tones, and volcanic rock forms dark sands. At night, dunes cool quickly. Once the sun sets, heat escapes rapidly from the sand. The temperature drop brings stillness, allowing the land to rest until morning winds return. As dunes settle into silence under the stars, imagine the slow breath of the desert itself wind, shaping land, land guiding wind, both moving in harmony. In places where water is rare and temperatures can feel extreme, life has learned to become patient, efficient, and quietly resilient. Desert ecosystems may appear empty at first glance, yet they are filled with carefully adapted plants and animals that thrive by conserving energy and using every resource wisely. Desert plants are masters of water storage. Many desert plants, such as cacti and succulents, store water in thick stems or leaves. These natural reservoirs allow them to survive long periods without rain. Their surfaces are often waxy, reducing water loss under intense sunlight. Roots grow where water hides. Some desert plants extend roots deep into the ground to reach hidden moisture, while others spread wide, shallow roots to absorb rain quickly before it evaporates. This dual strategy ensures that no drop of water goes unused. Instead of broad leaves, many desert plants have spines or tiny leaf structures. This reduces surface area and limits water loss. Spines also provide shade and protection from grazing animals. Many desert animals are nocturnal, emerging only at night when temperatures are cooler. By resting during the day, they reduce water loss and conserve energy. Burrowing offers protection. Animals such as desert rodents, reptiles, and insects dig burrows beneath the sand. These underground shelters remain cooler during the day and warmer at night, creating stable living conditions. Water comes from food. Some desert animals rarely drink water. Instead, they obtain moisture from seeds, plants, or prey. Kangaroo rats, for example, produce highly concentrated urine to conserve water efficiently. Camels are desert icons for a reason. Camels can tolerate dehydration levels that would be fatal to most mammals. Their humps store fat, not water, but this fat can be metabolized into energy and moisture when food is scarce. Reptiles thrive in heat. Cold-blooded animals, like lizards and snakes, regulate body temperature by moving between sun and shade. Their scales reduce water loss, making them well-suited to arid environments. Insects dominate desert life. Ants, beetles, and other insects are among the most successful desert dwellers. Some beetles collect moisture from morning fog by positioning their bodies to capture tiny droplets. Plants bloom briefly but beautifully. After rare rainfall, deserts can erupt into sudden color. Seeds that have waited years underground sprout rapidly, bloom, and release new seeds before the moisture disappears again. Pollination adapts to scarcity. Many desert plants rely on specific insects, birds, or bats for pollination. Night-blooming flowers often attract moths or bats using scent rather than color. Desert birds conserve energy. Birds in arid regions often glide instead of flapping continuously, saving energy. Some species travel long distances between feeding and nesting areas. Microorganisms shape the soil. Tiny organisms form biological soil crusts that stabilize desert surfaces. These crusts reduce erosion and help retain moisture, supporting larger plant life. Desert ecosystems are delicate. Because growth is slow, disturbances can last for decades. Tire tracks, construction, or overgrazing may permanently alter desert landscapes. Despite their harshness, deserts are places of balance. Every plant and animal plays a role, moving quietly within narrow limits. Survival here is not about speed or strength, but patience and precision. As the desert night deepens, life stirs gently beneath the stars, each creature following rhythms shaped by time, heat, and silence. Deserts are often described simply as hot places, but their climate is far more nuanced and quietly dramatic. To understand desert landscapes fully, it helps to slow down and observe how temperature, wind, and time interact in these vast open spaces. In many ways, deserts experience some of the most extreme daily and seasonal rhythms on Earth. Day and night feel like different worlds. During the day, desert temperatures can climb rapidly as sunlight pours onto bare ground with little vegetation to provide shade. Sand, rock, and dry soil absorb heat quickly. But once the sun sets, that same heat escapes just as fast. This dramatic shift shapes desert life. Plants and animals have adapted to these rapid changes. Some plants open their pores only at night to reduce water loss, a process known as photosynthesis. Animals, to adjust their activity cycles to these temperature swings, resting during heat and moving during cooler hours. Seasonal variation still matters. While deserts are dry year-round, many experience distinct seasons. The Sahara has cooler winters and scorching summers. The Mojave Desert can see snow in winter at higher elevations. These seasonal shifts influence migration, flowering cycles, and animal behavior. Rain arrives unpredictably. Unlike temperate regions with regular rainfall patterns, desert precipitation often comes in sudden bursts. A single storm may deliver most of the year's rain in just a few hours. This unpredictability encourages rapid biological responses and long periods of dormancy. Flash floods carved the land. When rain finally falls, dry ground struggles to absorb it. Water rushes across the surface, filling dry riverbeds known as wadis or arroyos. These sudden floods sculpt canyons, move sediment, and reshape the landscape almost instantly. Clouds are rare but meaningful. Desert skies are often clear, allowing intense solar radiation during the day and rapid cooling at night. When clouds do appear, they can significantly moderate temperatures and reduce evaporation, even if no rain falls. Wind is a quiet sculptor. Persistent desert winds move sand grain by grain. Over time, they form dunes, polish rock surfaces, and transport dust across continents. Saharan dust regularly crosses the Atlantic Ocean, fertilizing distant ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest. Dust influences global climate. Desert dust reflects sunlight and affects cloud formation. Scientists study these fine particles to better understand climate systems, weather prediction, and even ocean productivity. Deserts record Earth's history. Because erosion is slow, deserts preserve ancient landforms. Fossils, old river channels, and volcanic features remain visible for millions of years, offering valuable insights into Earth's geological past. Human cultures adapt to climate rhythms. Desert civilizations learned to build homes with thick walls, small windows, and shaded courtyards. These architectural techniques reduce heat and improve comfort without modern technology, influencing luxury, eco-resorts, and sustainable travel design today. Agriculture follows careful timing. In desert regions, farming depends on seasonal floods or carefully managed irrigation. Crops are planted when conditions briefly allow growth, reflecting centuries of accumulated environmental knowledge. Temperature extremes test materials. Roads, buildings, and vehicles face intense thermal stress in desert climates. Engineers design infrastructure that expands and contracts safely, influencing technology and construction standards worldwide. Desert nights reveal the universe. Clear skies and low humidity make deserts ideal locations for astronomy. Observatories in places like Chile's Atacama Desert provide some of the clearest views of the cosmos, supporting global scientific research and education. Silence defines the desert climate. With few trees to rustle and limited animal movement during heat, deserts can feel profoundly quiet. This silence amplifies subtle sounds, the whisper of wind, the shifting of sand contributes to the desert's calming, meditative atmosphere. Climate change is reshaping deserts. Some deserts are expanding as rainfall patterns shift, while others experience unexpected storms. Scientists monitor these changes closely as deserts respond quickly to global climate variations. Despite their extremes, deserts are stable in their own way. Their rhythms repeat with remarkable consistency. Hot days cool nights, long dry spells, and brief moments of abundance. This predictability, once understood, allows life to flourish within narrow boundaries. As time passes slowly across these open landscapes, deserts remind us that balance does not require gentleness. Sometimes, harmony exists within extremes, unfolding quietly beneath endless skies. Water is the quiet miracle of the desert. Though deserts are defined by dryness, water still exists, there in subtle, often hidden forms. It shapes landscapes, supports life, and connects deserts to the wider systems of Earth's climate and hydrology. When we slow down and look closely, deserts reveal themselves not as empty places, but as carefully balanced worlds where water moves patiently beneath the surface. Not all desert water is visible. Beneath many deserts lie vast underground aquifers, storing water that fell as rain thousands or even millions of years ago. This ancient groundwater moves slowly through porous rock, sometimes emerging naturally as springs. These hidden reservoirs support both ecosystems and human settlements. Oases are windows into the underground. An oasis forms where groundwater reaches the surface, often along fault lines or at the base of mountains. Palm trees, grasses, and wildlife gather here, creating islands of green amid sand and stone. Historically, oases shaped trade routes, travel economies, and cultural exchange across arid regions. Caravans depended on water knowledge. Ancient traders crossing deserts like the Sahara relied on carefully mapped oasis networks. Knowing where water could be found meant survival. These routes supported commerce, luxury goods, and cultural diffusion between continents long before modern transportation. Ephemeral rivers still matter. Many deserts contain dry riverbeds that flow only after rain. Though water may appear briefly, these channels recharge aquifers, transport nutrients, and allow plants to germinate. Life in deserts often waits patiently for these short-lived moments. Flash floods bring renewal. When sudden storms arrive, desert plants respond quickly. Seeds that lay dormant for years can sprout within days. Flowers bloom rapidly, covering the land in color before fading back into the soil, completing their life cycle in weeks. Desert soils are surprisingly complex. Though they appear barren, desert soils contain microorganisms that help stabilize the ground and retain moisture. Biological soil crusts, made of bacteria, algae, and lichens, reduce erosion and support nutrient cycling. Mountains create hidden water sources. Desert mountain ranges capture moisture from passing clouds. Snowmelt and rain seep into rock layers, slowly feeding springs and aquifers below. These highland areas often support more vegetation, forming important biodiversity refuges. Fog acts as water. In coastal deserts like the Atacama and Namib, fog provides moisture when rainfall is nearly non-existent. Plants and insects capture fog droplets directly from the air, sustaining life through atmospheric water alone. Animals harvest water efficiently. Instead, they obtain moisture from food or metabolic processes. Kangaroo rats, for example, can survive without drinking at all, producing water internally through digestion. Human engineering mirrors nature. Modern desert cities use advanced technology inspired by ancient practices. Underground channels, drip irrigation, and water recycling reduce waste. Luxury resorts and sustainable architecture increasingly adopt these techniques to balance comfort with environmental responsibility. Agriculture reshapes desert water use. Irrigated farming has turned some deserts into major food producers. Regions like California's Central Valley and parts of the Middle East rely heavily on controlled water systems, raising important questions about long-term sustainability. Desalination changes desert economies. Coastal deserts now use desalination plants to convert seawater into fresh water. This technology supports urban growth, tourism, and industry, reshaping economic possibilities in arid regions. Water defines desert borders. Desert regions often end where water becomes more reliable. Grasslands, savannas, or wetlands emerge gradually, showing how closely water availability controls ecosystems. Ancient water systems endure. Some underground channels built thousands of years ago, such as qanats in Iran, are still in use today. These systems demonstrate long-term planning and environmental understanding that modern societies continue to study. Desert rivers connect continents. Rivers like the Nile begin in wetter regions, but flow through deserts, delivering water, sediment, and life. These rivers supported some of the world's earliest civilizations and remain essential to modern economies. Even in extreme dryness, water leaves a signature. Salt flats, mineral deposits, and eroded rock formations all tell stories of water's past presence. Deserts remember rain long after it disappears. In the desert, water is never wasted. Every drop shapes behavior, movement, and survival. Life responds with patience rather than urgency, waiting quietly for the moment when moisture returns. As you imagine these hidden rivers and underground flows, the desert feels less empty and more like a carefully guarded secret, one that reveals itself only to those who listen slowly. As the sun sinks below the horizon, deserts transform. Heat fades, winds soften, and a vast stillness settles across the land. Nighttime in the desert is not empty or quiet in the way cities imagine silence. It is alive with subtle motion, cool air, and some of the clearest skies on Earth. Deserts offer unmatched views of the universe. Low humidity, minimal cloud cover, and sparse light pollution make deserts ideal for astronomy. For thousands of years, humans have looked to desert skies to map stars, track seasons, and understand time. Modern observatories still choose arid regions for the same reasons. Ancient cultures followed the stars. Civilizations in desert regions aligned temples, monuments, and calendars with celestial movements. The stars guided navigation, agriculture, and spiritual belief, blending astronomy with culture and history. The Milky Way glows brighter here. On clear desert nights, the Milky Way stretches across the sky like a pale river of light. This view inspired myths, poetry, and early scientific observation long before telescopes existed. Temperature drops rapidly after sunset. Deserts lose heat quickly at night due to low moisture in the air. This creates dramatic temperature shifts, shaping the behavior of plants, animals, and even geological processes like rock cracking. Night brings activity. Many desert animals are nocturnal, emerging after dark to avoid heat. Foxes rodents, insects, and reptiles move through the cooling air, guided by scent and sound rather than sight. Sound travels differently at night. Cool air layers allow sounds to travel farther, making distant movements seem closer. The desert night often feels vast and intimate at the same time. Moonlight transforms landscapes. Sand dunes reflect moonlight softly, creating patterns of light and shadow that shift as the night progresses. Travelers have long used moonlit nights to move safely across desert terrain. Stars shaped navigation. Before modern technology, desert travelers navigated using constellations. Knowing the position of Polaris or the Southern Cross could mean the difference between safety and getting lost. Desert silence supports reflection. Without constant noise, the desert invites introspection. Many cultures associate deserts with meditation, vision, quests, and spiritual renewal. Meteor showers appear brighter, with fewer obstructions and clearer air. Meteor showers feel more vivid in desert skies. Streaks of light briefly illuminate the darkness, reminding observers of Earth's place in the wider universe. Technology now follows ancient wisdom. Space agencies, research institutions, and luxury ecolodges all value desert night skies. Stargazing tourism has become an important part of local economies, blending science, travel, and conservation. Wind shapes soundscapes. Even gentle breezes can produce soft tones as they move across dunes and rock formations. These natural sounds create a calming rhythm that many find ideal for rest and sleep. Desert nights preserve history. Rock art, ruins, and ancient pathways are often best explored at night or twilight, when temperatures are cooler and shadows reveal details invisible during the day. The desert becomes a classroom. Under the stars, deserts teach patience, scale, and perspective. They remind us that silence is not emptiness, but space for awareness. As the sky slowly turns and stars drift across the darkness, the desert night wraps itself around you like a quiet blanket. Thoughts slow. Breathing deepens. Time feels less urgent. In this stillness, the desert reveals its gentlest side. As dawn approaches or night deepens, life in the desert continues its careful rhythm. Though deserts may appear empty at first glance, they are among the most finely balanced ecosystems on Earth. Every plant and animal here is shaped by scarcity, patience, and remarkable adaptation. Water defines desert life. In arid regions, water is the most valuable resource. Many desert organisms survive on minimal moisture, extracting it from food, air, or brief rainfall. This scarcity has driven some of the most fascinating biological adaptations found anywhere in nature. Plants store life inside themselves. Cacti and succulents are famous examples, storing water in thick stems or leaves. Their waxy coatings reduce evaporation, while spines replace leaves to minimize water loss and protect against herbivores. Roots reach far and wide. Some desert plants grow shallow roots that spread widely to capture rare rain. Others send roots deep underground, tapping ancient water reserves hidden beneath the surface. Animals conserve energy carefully. Desert mammals often rest during the day and become active at night. By avoiding heat, they reduce water loss and energy expenditure, a strategy refined over thousands of years. Small bodies lose heat faster. Many desert animals are small, allowing them to release heat quickly after sunset. Large ears, thin fur, and light-colored coats all help regulate temperature. Reptiles thrive in extremes. Lizards and snakes rely on external heat to regulate their bodies. They bask briefly in the sun, then retreat to shade or burrows, perfectly balancing warmth and safety. Insects dominate desert ecosystems. Despite their size, insects play massive roles in pollination, soil health, and food webs. Ants, beetles, and termites recycle nutrients efficiently in harsh conditions. Birds follow invisible highways. Migratory birds cross deserts using ancient routes, stopping at oases and seasonal wetlands. These journeys connect continents and highlight deserts as vital links in global ecology. Camouflage is survival. Many desert animals blend seamlessly into sand or rock, avoiding predators and conserving energy. Colors tend toward browns, grays, and pale yellows, matching the land itself. Burrows create microclimates. Underground shelters protect animals from heat, cold, and predators. These burrows also improve soil aeration and water absorption, benefiting plants nearby. Plants time their growth precisely. Some desert flowers bloom only after rain, completing their life cycle in days or weeks. Seeds may remain dormant for years, waiting patiently for the right conditions. Sound carries survival signals. Desert animals use subtle sounds to communicate across distances. A rustle, chirp, or vibration can mean danger, territory, or opportunity. Human cultures learned from the land. Indigenous desert communities developed deep knowledge of plants, animals, and seasonal patterns. Their survival depended on observation, restraint, and respect for fragile resources. Traditional medicine emerged here. Many desert plants have medicinal properties used for centuries to treat wounds, illness, and pain. Modern science continues to study these adaptations for pharmaceutical insights. Deserts reward balance. Life here does not rush or waste. Every movement, every drop of water, every breath matters. This quiet efficiency creates ecosystems that are resilient, though sensitive to disturbance. As you imagine these hidden lives moving softly beneath stars or sand, the desert feels less harsh and more gentle. It becomes a place of calm persistence, where survival is not loud, but steady and thoughtful. Let the slow rhythm of desert life guide your breathing and ease your thoughts. As the quiet desert night stretches onward, it becomes clear that humans have never merely passed through these landscapes. For thousands of years, deserts have shaped civilizations, guided trade, inspired belief systems, and influenced the global economy in subtle yet powerful ways. Deserts were not barriers, but pathways. Though often seen as obstacles, many deserts became vital corridors of movement. Ancient caravans crossed vast arid lands, linking continents through trade, culture, and shared knowledge. Caravan routes connected civilizations. The Silk Road crossed deserts like the Taklamakan and Gobi, carrying silk, spices, technology, and ideas between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. These routes quietly shaped global history and early economic systems. Camels transformed desert travel. Often called the ships of the desert, camels can travel long distances without water, carry heavy loads, and withstand extreme temperatures. Their domestication revolutionized trade, tourism, and cultural exchange across arid regions. Oases became centers of life. Where water surfaced, cities emerged. Oases supported agriculture, markets, and rest stops for travelers. Over time, they grew into cultural hubs where languages, goods, and traditions blended. Desert cities rose and fell with water. Civilizations flourished where wells, springs, or rivers could be managed. When water sources shifted or dried, cities were abandoned, leaving behind ruins that still whisper stories of innovation, architecture adapted beautifully. Desert homes were built with thick walls, narrow windows, and courtyards to regulate temperature naturally. These designs reduced heat, conserved energy, and inspired modern, sustainable architecture. Ancient irrigation systems mastered scarcity. Technologies like qanats in Persia and fogras in North Africa transported underground water across long distances. These systems supported agriculture and remain engineering marvels studied today. Deserts preserved history. Dry conditions slow decay, allowing artifacts, manuscripts, and even ancient footprints to survive for millennia. Archaeologists often uncover remarkably well-preserved evidence of past life beneath desert sands. Spiritual traditions flourished here. Deserts encouraged reflection and simplicity. Many religious figures retreated into arid landscapes, seeking clarity, giving deserts a lasting place in spiritual history and cultural imagination. Nomadic cultures followed seasonal rhythms. Rather than settle permanently, nomadic societies moved with rainfall and grazing cycles. Their lifestyles emphasized flexibility, respect for land, and deep environmental knowledge. Desert music reflects open space. Traditional desert music often uses steady rhythms and echoing tones, mirroring the vastness of the land. These sounds remain deeply calming and meditative. Modern tourism follows ancient paths. Today, desert tourism brings travelers seeking silence, luxury retreats, and cultural immersion. From Sahara camps to Atacama observatories, deserts offer unique experiences tied to nature and history. Economic resources lie beneath the sand. Many deserts hold valuable minerals, oil, and solar potential. These resources influence global energy markets, technology development, and economic planning. Solar energy thrives here. Deserts receive abundant sunlight, making them ideal for renewable energy projects. Large solar farms now power cities, blending ancient landscapes with future-focused technology. Preservation is increasingly important. As development grows, protecting desert ecosystems and heritage sites becomes critical. Sustainable tourism and education help balance economic opportunity with environmental care. As you rest with these gentle stories of human resilience and quiet innovation, the desert feels less distant. It becomes a place where time slows, lessons endure, and balance matters. Let the long arc of desert history drift through your thoughts like warm night air. As we reach the final stretch of our gentle journey, the desert settles into its most peaceful form. Night has fully arrived. The heat fades. The wind softens. Above, the sky opens wider than almost anywhere else on Earth, offering a sense of stillness that feels both ancient and timeless. Desert nights are among the quietest places on the planet. With little vegetation and minimal humidity, sound travels differently. Even small movements feel distant. This natural silence is one reason deserts are often chosen for meditation retreats. Astronomy observatories and peaceful travel experiences focused on rest and reflection. The stars appear brighter here. Deserts offer some of the darkest skies on Earth, with low light pollution and clear air. The Milky Way becomes visible to the naked eye. This has made deserts prime locations for scientific research, space observation, and astrotourism. Ancient people read the sky from deserts. Long before modern technology, desert civilizations tracked stars to guide travel, mark seasons, and plan agriculture. Stone alignments and oral traditions preserved astronomical knowledge across generations. Without clouds to trap heat, desert air cools quickly at night. This dramatic shift shapes animal behavior, plant biology, and human lifestyles, encouraging rest during the cooler hours. Nocturnal life awakens. As the sun sets, many desert animals emerge. Foxes, rodents, owls, and insects become active, moving quietly across dunes and rocky plains. Their adaptations allow survival without wasting precious water. Plants rest at night, too. Many desert plants open their pores only after dark, reducing water loss. This quiet rhythm reflects the desert's patient efficiency and natural balance. Moonlight reshapes the landscape. Under the moon, dunes appear smoother, shadows stretch longer, and familiar landforms seem transformed. Travelers often describe desert nights as dreamlike, blending nature and imagination. Deserts inspire modern wellness travel. Luxury, eco-lodges, and minimalist retreats offer silence, stargazing, and digital detox experiences. These destinations support tourism economies while promoting mental health and sustainable design. Scientific research continues quietly. Deserts help scientists study climate change, extreme survival, and planetary geology. Mars-like terrain in places such as the Atacama Desert supports space exploration, research, and technology testing. Deserts teach patience. Change happens slowly here. Dunes move grain by grain. Rocks weather over centuries. This pace reminds us that not all progress needs speed. Conservation shapes the future. Protected desert areas safeguard biodiversity, cultural heritage, and fragile ecosystems. Education plays a key role in helping future generations understand the value of arid landscapes. Water remains the defining resource. Innovations in water conservation, desalination, and sustainable agriculture are increasingly inspired by desert living. These lessons influence global environmental policy and education. Deserts connect the past and future. From ancient trade routes to modern solar farms, deserts show how humans adapt without dominating. They remind us that survival often comes from listening rather than controlling. As you rest now, let the image of a calm desert night settle gently in your mind. Endless horizons. Cool air, stars stretching across the sky. Nothing rushing, nothing demanding attention. The desert remains still, patient, and quietly alive. Thank you for spending this peaceful time here. May the calm of the dunes stay with you as you drift into rest.